Hello and welcome to Rogue Atlas. Today I'm taking you on a journey through 3 of the nicest parks for fall foliage in Berlin. We're here on this beautiful fall day, right at the perfect time when all of the leaves are falling and everything's really bright and colorful, and we're starting out here in Victoria Park. So I'm going to take you on a little journey. Victoria Park has a few interesting facts about it. The first thing I want to say is that we're in the neighborhood of Kreutzberg, but Kreutzberg isn't just a neighborhood, it's also the name of this hill here. This park is on a big hill and it's also called Kreutzberg Hill. It used to be called Tempelberger Hill in the past, and it was well known actually as a wine region. Little known fact a lot of people don't realize is that Berlin actually used to be a wine region, and a lot of the wine was grown here on this very hill. So let's get started and see what this park has to offer. Behind me, on the top of the Kreutzberg Hill, or toppled berg, you will see that there is a memorial right here behind me. It's made in the Neo-Gothic style, and it was created to commemorate the defeat of the French domination and Napoleon Bonaparte. So kind of the re-liberation of Europe and being able to move forward after the French Revolution. Behind me is the Kreutzberg Waterfall. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's whether that the weather's getting cold or there's some sort of defect with it going on right now, but the water is obviously not flowing, so the waterfall is actually not happening. This is an artificial waterfall that was made to mimic a waterfall that was in the mountains on the border of the Czech Republic and Poland, which was a popular vacation spot for Berliners in the 1800s. I guess they really loved that waterfall a lot because they decided to make an exact copy of it here. So this one is not a natural waterfall, unfortunately. It's powered by a pump, but usually it's really beautiful and super relaxing, and it's the only place in actual Berlin city limits that you can see a real waterfall and enjoy the babbling brooks. The aforementioned memorial that stands here behind me was built first, and then years later they decided to build the park around it, and now it's a very popular hangout spot in Kreutzberg and in all of Berlin, and it was the first park that was in this area of Berlin to be established. Now there's lots of other ones in Kreutzberg, but at first this was the only one that you could come here to enjoy. So now we've made it to the Tiergarten, and our first stop is in Café am Neuensee, which is this giant beer garden that you see behind me. I always think it's kind of funny that it's a beer garden in the Tiergarten. But anyways, it's really huge, and it's like your traditional style German beer garden. Nice that we're here in October, even though Oktoberfest isn't happening this year. You can come here, you can get a beer, you can get a schnitzel, you can get a bratwurst, and you can just kind of sit and relax and enjoy the Tiergarten and the outside. This is one of the many places in the Tiergarten where you can actually rent a rowboat and enjoy time with your family and friends rowing along the different canals and little lakes within the Tiergarten. Let's go to the next place in the Tiergarten. We've now arrived at the open-air gas lantern museum that's within the Tiergarten. It's very close to the Tiergarten station, and basically what it is here is that Berlin used to be powered by, you guessed it, gas lanterns. So there's 100 different types here lining this pathway, and there's little placards on each one explaining what type of lantern it is, what year they came from, and then you can just check out the cool different designs. And yes, you guessed it, they actually are still lit up every evening. So here we're on the side of the Tear Garden that lines the zoo. There's a path that you can see like some of the birds and other animals as you're walking past. I just want to say I don't really endorse zoos. I think a lot of them have bad practices, and I can't say that I've looked into the Berlin Zoo enough to say whether or not that is an ethical one with rehabilitation or if it's just your average zoo. But either way, it's here and lines the Tiergarten Park, and you can see some of the animals when you're walking past. The Tiergarten came about after Friedrich III, the king of the Prussian Empire, decided that he wanted to change these old royal hunting grounds into a park that was free for everyone to enjoy, and thus the Tiergarten Tier Park was formed. Another interesting fact about this area was that it was actually destroyed really heavily during the World War II bombings. Almost the entire park was destroyed, and then after that there was not enough coal left, so people cut down the rest of the trees so that they could use it for fuel, basically, so wood burning to use for fuel. Eventually, trees were donated from other parts of Germany and planted, and that made it nice again and made all the trees grow. And now, years and years later, you see this beautiful park that we've been walking through today. Behind me is the Siegessäule, otherwise known in English as the Victory Column. It's in the center of the Tiergarten. There's a huge roundabout going around it, and there's lots of different various paths that go off on either direction. It's here lined by beautiful, beautiful trees, and it's a really good place to start when you're walking around the Tiergarten. Like I said, it's massive here, so unfortunately I'm not able to show you that much of it because it would take us hours upon hours to go walk around and see all of the different paths in the Tiergarten. But I suggest that you get lost here, check it out. There's so many cool things to see. It's a really great place to spend a whole day or an afternoon, whatever you have time for. The other cool thing is that directly on the other side of us, behind, is the Brandenburger Tor, the Brandenburg Gate, that's very famous. So you can walk from one to the other if you want to. But anyways, there's lots of cool Berlin places to see around the Tiergarten. Signing off, these were great parks with fall foliage to go see some beautiful, colorful fall leaves. This is Rogue Atlas. I just want to remind you to please hit like and subscribe if you want more content. And like I said, as always, I'm taking suggestions, and have a happy fall, happy Halloween. Bye.